So this is the fantasy football stat collection sheet. And let's take notice of the stat headers, and that's here, is what I mean. First stat that I just highlighted there is passing yards and also passing touchdowns. So we'll focus on those first. So you go to profootballreference.com, and then you type in your player's name. In this case, it was Brock Purdy. Okay, and so you come to his stat page. Okay, and so let's talk about what you're going to click on in order to begin the data collection. So, firstly, what you should do is hover over game logs, and that is right here. Just hover over that. Once you do that, you'll see a bunch of years pop up, and you'll want to click on 2024. So when you do that, you'll get to the stats that you need to find, and the numbers you're going to pull are going to be the bold ones there at the bottom. All right, so for example, let's take a look at the first thing you're going to do is look at passing yards, YDS. This is the number you would use, 842. And so that number for Brock Purdy would be typed in here, 842. Now the next one is passing touchdowns, you can see. So we go take a look at that, TD, and pull the bold number, and that's 4. So notice we have next is receiving yards, but you're not going to see that because there's no receiving. There is just passing right here, and there's rushing. So there's no receiving, and you wouldn't expect to see that for a quarterback, which is what Brock Purdy is. So we type in zeros. There's not going to be receptions. There could be rushing yards, so let's take a look. Underneath rushing, we have 64 yards for Brock Purdy. So we type in 64 there. See if there's any rushing touchdowns. There's not. It's 0. So 0. So we're done with Brock Purdy. Now let's go to the next player, J.K. Dobbins. Okay, you would do the same thing. Type in J.K. Dobbins at football stat reference. Okay, and then you're not going to see passing yards for him. He's a running back, as you can see. There is no passing headline up here. There's just rushing and receiving. So let's start with rushing. He's got 310 yards. So we'll type in zeros for the passing. Skip over to rushing, 310. And rushing touchdowns, he has 2. Looks like he has some receiving stats. So receiving yards, he has 14, and he has 0 touchdowns receiving. So he does have 14, 0 touchdowns. And for receptions, that's going to be REC right here. He has 7. Okay, and we'll do one more example because this guy's a wide receiver, Nico Collins. All right, and once again, you're not going to see passing, and most likely you won't see rushing either. Receivers typically only have receiving stats. All right, so when we go to look up his stats, you're probably just going to see this category receiving mostly. Some receivers do get some rushing stats. Oops. Okay, receiving yards. Here we go. 338. And he has one receiving touchdown. And he has 18 receptions. So 338, 1, and 18. 338. One and 18. Everything else is zeros. And this is how you perform the data collection for football stats. And of course, notice something I didn't really talk about, but you'll see the DeVito score formulating. This is the scoring that is going to determine how you compete against other students in the class. Okay, thank you.